Folks, Tom Lee just said, do this now. Okay, Tom Lee, so context here. Tom Lee comes out on Blood Monday, and he makes a few predictions live on CNBC, and we need to cover those in order to understand his latest predictions that he came out with over today and yesterday. He said Monday on CNBC, quote, "The 2-year Treasury is signaling the Fed is behind, but it does seem like as we look back, this is from the surprise hike from Japan and the sort of knock-on effects from there," Lee said. "If that is the primary source of the reaction, I know it's going to be tumultuous for markets, but for the US economy, it's not necessarily bad news." So here he was commenting on the Japanese carry trade, saying that, yeah, it's a problem for the Japanese, it's a problem for some of the capital that needed to be liquidated out of the US market, but it's not necessarily bad news for the US economy. He thought on Monday that this was going to play out and the market overall would bounce back, and so far he's been right. There has been a bit of a market attempt to bounce back. But in terms of the bigger picture sell-off that we've seen since July 17th, he said the global sell-off in equities could end up being a mere growth scare. Okay, great, Charlie. So what does Tom Lee think we should do? Now, I know what the title of the video says, and forgive me if you think it's clickbait, but truth be told, he's not going to tell you exactly what to do, but what you can get from him is what he's doing and what he thinks, and then you can garner your opinion on what he thinks you should do. It's not hard to find his real thoughts here because he talks so much as a CNBC contributor, as somebody who's active on social media, and as somebody who goes on frequent interviews. So for starters, Lee has predicted a big rally post-Fed cut. The Fed is expected to cut in September, so there you have that. And in an interview just posted this morning with Bankless, he suggests that September we're going to see not just rate cuts, but the entire economy is going to experience a massive revival.
All right, so that was Ziptrader talking about Tom Lee's recent comments. It's interesting to compare that with Meet Kevin's picks, see how long Meet Kevin is going to stay bearish. But it's an interesting perspective, and it's something that I kind of talked about, I've been talking about recently in the past couple of videos, is don't undermine the power of the growth stocks right now because of how overbeaten they've been. And a lot of, if you pull up NVIDIA, a lot of these stocks right here have just gotten beaten down massively. And so we're sort of reaching the point of where we were at before. When we first started raising interest rates, all the growth stocks were hugely overbought. And a lot of people started to flood out of those sort of stocks, you know, Palantir, ARK, ARKK. Things like that, move into Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and now we're sort of seeing a rotation out of those sort of stocks. And we have yet to see a huge influx into some of these big name or some of these smaller growth stocks. Although I will say, if you pull up some things like PLTR, Palantir, it's been on a huge rip for the past couple months since May of 2023, really, which is pretty phenomenal. And it's been up huge today. We are currently up 11.25% on Palantir. So Palantir is actually, there was a huge opportunity to get in Palantir a few days ago off of the bounce off of this HA market bias indicator. However, I don't think it really is too late, and I'll explain exactly why. One being that we just now, as of really today, maybe yesterday, you could make the argument, we switched over to all blue on the BORGM cloud. If we pull up the, I'm going to minimize myself a little bit here. If we pull up the MACD, it looks like we are coming to the end of this downturn, and we are going to start going bullish, and that will potentially reap benefits for those who have who are swing trading or just are in Palantir to begin with. And we are about to break above this previous high right here, and we are pretty clear because if we zoom out to the weekly, you can see that this was a major resistance right here, and we're about to pull through that. This right here looks like it was going to test it, got rejected, came up, did test it, got rejected, and then started to go back down. And, you know, candles tell a story, right? And it looks like we started out pretty low and we just shot back up. That, of course, was in reaction to a lot of things that were going on with the S&P 500 or just the indices in general. people are not so worried about the carry trade. You can see this huge turnaround, right? I mean, this was in the beginning of the week, was very significantly in the red. We can go to, we have regular candles open to the daily, and you can see that we've pretty much gained all of those losses back. So if we were to go back to QQQ again, which is primarily what me, Kevin, looks at, you can see that he bought puts here. I've explained to this a few times already that other than this big volatility to the downside and maybe the RSI being under the moving indicator, there wasn't really too much of an indication from a technical standpoint that we are going to necessarily be heading lower, because you can see we've had these little scares in the past. It just happens to be right this time. I haven't tracked his previous videos here, but I would venture to guess he might have had a little scare there. But calls down here, changed his mind a day later, said he was bearish, bought more calls a couple of days ago, and his puts a couple of days ago, and now his puts are probably getting wrecked. This is me, Kevin, by the way, not Ziptrader. So Ziptrader is putting out, kind of goes to everything money's philosophy, right? Not try to necessarily time things per se, but buy things that are currently undervalued. That's all I have for you today. If you like this video, honestly, in all seriousness, the easiest way to help out the channel is to hit the like button. I never knew before starting a YouTube channel how much that actually helps. It tells the algorithm to push out my videos a lot more. It also tells them to show you my videos a lot more. So if you like this content, you want to see more, hit the subscription bell, turn on the notifications. This is going to be me talking about Ziptrader, Everything Money, Meet Kevin. We're going to be talking about In the Money, which is another YouTube channel out there. All different kinds of finance YouTubers out there. So if there's a particular person you want me to take a look at, leave a comment down below, and I will be sure to do so. Thank you. Have a good day.